name is Kim and I'm from Lamp Early On. Today we're going to be making some really yummy applesauce muffins. These muffins are nice and moist and also not so sweet, which is great for you and your little ones. And as always, this is a very simple recipe you can do with you and your little one at home. Baking, I find, is a lot easier to do with your little ones than cooking because it doesn't involve the stove too much, but it's just enough that they can be a part of most of the process, and we are just going to jump right into it. So you're going to notice that today's video is just a little bit different than how we usually do the Cooking with Caregiver and Me videos, and that's because we have a very special guest joining us later on in the video as our muffins bake. And we have Calla, who is our dietitian at Lamp, and she's going to be talking to us about picky eating and some strategies you can do at home to help with your little picky eater. But we're just going to jump right into the muffins. So the first thing I have my muffin tray lined up with the muffin cups, but you can always grease it really well, and then that way they'll just come out really easy. I have the regular muffin size. You can use the mini muffin pans, or if you don't have any of these muffin trays at home, you can turn it into a cake, and later on when we bake it, I'll tell you the varying minutes because it will vary. But I'm going to leave this to the side. So as well, I have already cleaned my counter and washed my hands, and my oven right now is preheating at 375 Fahrenheit. So we are going to need whole wheat flour. You can use regular flour, but whole wheat flour is a little bit, I guess, more healthy if you're being a little bit more health conscious. We have rolled oats. You're going to need some rolled oats. And then, of course, you're going to need some applesauce. It's preferred if you have unsweetened, smooth applesauce. If you have sweetened applesauce, that's fine. But if you have like a chunky applesauce, then it's going to affect the texture of your muffin. I also have baking powder. Now the recipe calls for baking soda, but I don't have that. So, but I'll tell you how we're gonna fix that. And then we're gonna need cinnamon. We're gonna need maple syrup. And make sure it's not table syrup. I almost made that mistake getting maple syrup because they come in the same bottle. But you want the maple syrup because maple syrup is has half the amount of sugar in it than table syrup does. We also have vanilla. We have milk. You can use any milk. I'm using today lactose-free milk because I'm slightly lactose intolerant. And then I have 1 egg. So those are the core that you're gonna need, but you can always jazz it up with some, if you're not allergic to nuts, some small cut up strawberries or blueberries. I'm gonna be putting some unsweetened coconut flakes in a few of my muffins. You're also gonna need a big mixing bowl. You're gonna need measuring cups and measuring spoons. You're gonna need your spatula. You're gonna need a smaller separate bowl. We're gonna be putting all of our wet ingredients into this one, all of our dry ingredients into this one, and then eventually we're gonna slowly mix it in. You're gonna need a couple spoons just in case. And you're going to need a plate or something that has like a large circumference area on the bottom. Mine is this. The IKEA plates that have that little ledge around it is great as well. And this is so that your little one can practice cracking an egg. But we'll talk about that a little bit more. So we're just gonna start.
everyone. My name is Calla and I'm the Community Dietitian at Lamp Community Health Center. I'm very happy to be able to join Kim today to record this video with you to talk a bit about feeding toddlers. And typically after a child reaches 12 months old, their growth slows down, and it's common to hear parents and caregivers share the concerns about how their child is not eating as much as they used to. And this is normal, and it's a time for kids to explore the different foods around them, as well as learning about what they like to eat. And today I want to share 6 top tips for feeding your toddler, as well as dealing with picky eating. So number one of the most important tips is to be patient when trying new foods. So young children tend to not like to try new foods or new things in general. And we want to let parents and caregivers be aware that it can take several tries before a child accepts a new food. And studies shows that this could be 10 tries up to 20 to even 25 tries before a child will accept a new food. And that is why it's important to introduce new foods often, and you can start with small portions and also try to offer it with something that your child is already familiar with. That way they're not having a completely new plate in front of them. And you can also try serving the same food in different ways. For example, if you have something like carrots, you can serve them grated, or you can add them in soups or stews, or you can also even bake them into muffins. And again, having continuous and repeated exposure of the same food can lead your child to learn to accept them. And for toddlers, food jag is very common. So you might be asking, what is food jag? That is when your child eats the same 1 or 2 foods for days or even longer. And typically this goes away on its own and is usually not a big concern. Number 2 is to eat the same meals as a family whenever possible. So your toddler is more likely to eat foods that you and others at home are already enjoying. So it's important that you can act as a role model during meal times. Seat your child at the table, either in a high chair or a regular chair, and serve them the same food that the rest of the family is eating. Preparing separate foods or only serving the foods that your child likes will not encourage them to try new foods and eat new things. Also, we want to note that it's important to avoid distractions like TVs or other screens, iPads, books, or even toys. And this could distract your child from focusing on what's on their plate and then enjoying what they're eating. And at every meal, it's a good idea to also offer at least one nutritious food that your child likes to eat. So then again, even if they don't want to try or they're not ready to try the things that the rest of the family are eating, they can turn to one item that they're used to. So often for a lot of toddlers, we find that something like bread or macaroni that they are very familiar and they find comfort in. Number 3 is to grow, pick, cook, and shop for food together. So involving your toddler in growing food, meal planning, grocery shopping, and cooking will make them more open to trying new foods. So your child might be able to help with many different tasks at home, such as washing fruits or vegetables. You can get them to help with tossing a salad, stirring ingredients for a dish, or even just setting the table. And if you have space for a little garden, it's a good idea to grow small seedlings at home, or even if there's a community garden or a food market near you, you can take your child there just to explore and learn about the different foods there. Number 4 is to set regular meal and snack times. So young children turn to their parents and caregivers for structure. And for toddlers 1 year up, you can start offering 3 meals and 2 to 3 snacks per day. It is best to keep this around the same time each day, and it could be spaced around 2 to 3 hours each. And this gets your child into a routine and gets them ready to eat at each meal or snack time. And it's good to have it if it's the same day, again, to have that routine. Try not to give food in between these times because children are very smart. And if they learn that they can get you to give them food whenever they want or on demand, then they are less likely to eat well during sit-down meal times. If your child is asking for food in between these meals and snack times, let them know when the next meal or snack time is, and let them know that they can be having food again during that time. However, if your child is telling you they're thirsty between these meal and snack times, serving water as the beverage is the best choice. And that is because if you give too much juices or too much milk, that can fill up their stomachs very quickly, and that can affect their appetite for their next meal. Number 5, another very important tip is to trust your toddler's appetite. So children naturally know if they are full and if they are feeling hungry. So try to let your child eat as much or as little as they want during snack or meal times. Your job as a parent or caregiver is to decide what foods to offer, when to offer it, and where you want to have that meal. Trust your child to decide on which foods to eat and how much they will have, if any at all. The best way to approach this is to give your toddler small portions at a time and then let them ask for more. And it is normal for your toddler's appetite to change from day to day or even meal to meal during this time. So an occasional skipped meal or a skipped snack is usually not a big concern, especially if you know that your child is growing well. If your child is refusing a meal or they're not eating anything anymore after 20 minutes at the table, remove their plate without comment and then just allow them to leave the table and do whatever they want to do. Again, you can let them know if they're requesting for food afterwards, when the next snack or meal time is, and that they can have food then. Try not to pressure your child to eat more because this can make meal times unpleasant and can lead to a greater resistance when it comes to eating and during meal times. And number 6 is to serve food in fun, attractive, and interesting ways. So you can use different textures, colors, shapes, and texture and flavors when you're serving food. So right here I have a sample plate where we're using many different colors. You can also use things like cookie cutters to cut out sandwiches, vegetables, and fruits. So for example, I have a cookie cutter here, which is bigger size that can be fitting for a sandwich, or these smaller ones here, which can be potentially used to cut out vegetables. Let's see that. And this way it just makes the food interesting for them, or you can also even use names like, let's have some broccoli trees on our plate. And it doesn't have to be very fancy. If you need some inspiration, search for fun food plates online, and there are many ideas out there. And you can also build the plate together and discuss what you're making. If you're making something like a funny face or an animal, you can talk about how I'm eating the ears or the eyes of the face or the animal next. And we also find that children might be receptive to having different colored bowls or plates, or even having their own special bowl and cutlery, and that can also lead them to want to eat more at meal times. So to recap, the top 6 tips I gave today was: number 1, be patient when trying new foods. Number 2, eat the same meals as a family as often as possible. Number 3, grow, pick, shop, and cook for food together. Number 4, set regular meals and snack times. Number 5 is to trust your toddler's appetite. And number 6 is try to make food fun and attractive to your children. And I hope that all parents and caregivers can give these 6 tips a try. But of course, if you have additional concerns, or if you find that your child is not eating at all, then it would be best to contact your child's doctor or dietitian to have an appointment and to meet individual needs. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Calla. If families want to reach out to you, do they need a referral? How can they do that?
Yes, so either on our website or if Kim, you are sharing my contact, parents and caregivers or anyone, they can contact me directly to set up an appointment. If you're already in the LAMP system, then that's great. I can just go ahead and set a one-on-one appointment with you. If not, then we can register you into LAMP and then we can proceed from there to have a phone appointment at this moment.
Perfect. So Calla's email information is going to be in the description box below. And then also any of the links that she has mentioned is also going to be in the description box below. But thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. And I'm excited to meet all of you.
So they just came out of the oven, my friends, and they've been sitting to cool, and they smell so good. My kitchen smells so good right now. Mine took about 20 minutes, and you will have to check on yours after the 16-minute mark, because my oven isn't the strongest, so it takes a little bit longer to cook things. And if you're making it into like a cake form, I would probably wait until the 20-minute mark to check, and then just keep putting it in the oven every few minutes. You will know your muffin or your cake is done if you get like a toothpick or like a fork or something, and you find the biggest muffin, and you stick the toothpick in the middle, and it comes out nice and clean. So I have my coconut one here, and then I've got the ones with nothing in it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the part with Calla in it. And if you've made this recipe, I would love to see how your muffin or your cake turned out. And I hope you all have a wonderful day. Goodbye, my friends.